At 41,000 feet above the Pacific, a Boeing 747 began turning right. Then the bank kept increasing. The nose dropped to almost 69 degrees. The aircraft rolled through a near-complete circle and fell roughly 30,000 feet in about 2.5 minutes. Inside were 274 people. Every one of them would survive. The chain began with a problem in a single ENG, INE Chinese letter, ND a crew that stopped seeing the airplane as a whole. China Airlines Flight 006 was flying from Taipei to Los Angeles on February 19, 1985. About 300 miles northwest of San Francisco, the number 4 engine began losing thrust. This was serious, but not immediately catastrophic. 3 engines were still producing power, and the aircraft was controllable. The imbalance simply required the pilots to counter the yaw. Instead, the captain focused on restoring the engine, while the autopilot tried to hold altitude and heading. The autopilot could command the ailerons and spoilers, but not the rudder. As airspeed decayed, the thrust difference pulled the aircraft harder to the right. The autopilot quietly applied more and more left-wing down control. It eventually reached its maximum command, 22.9 degrees of control wheel input, but the airplane was still rolling right. The automation had not solved the imbalance. It had hidden the growing control demand until there was almost no margin left. When the autopilot disconnected, the crew inherited an aircraft already far from balanced flight. The 747 entered cloud. Without a visible horizon, the captain became spatially disoriented and did not trust what the instruments were showing. The roll steepened. The nose fell. Air traffic control issued a descent clearance, but the crew did not acknowledge it, and 6 calls went unanswered. At one point, the aircraft was nearly inverted and descending nose first through the cloud. The descent ended only when the aircraft broke out below the clouds and the crew regained a reliable visual horizon. They recovered near 11,000 feet and stabilized around 9,500. The forces had damaged the horizontal stabilizers, landing gear doors, and portions of the tail, yet the 747 remained flyable. The crew diverted to San Francisco and landed safely. 24 people were injured, 2 seriously, but all 274 aboard survived. Investigators did not blame the accident on the engine alone. The probable cause centered on the captain's preoccupation with that engine, his failure to monitor the flight instruments, and his reliance on the autopilot. The first failure was visible. The second failure was attention. Automation can hold a problem in check while also concealing how hard it is working. When the system reaches its limit, the crew receives the entire problem at once. The enduring rule is simple: diagnose the fault, but never stop flying the aircraft.